Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You are in the Prog Corner, and welcome to 2024, where this year promises to be one of the best in the history of prog rock. 2023 was amazing, so we're going to start it out with a bang. 4 months ago, the Prog Report did the Wheel of Prog with the Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy albums. I was not invited to that one, but I did get on the Wheel of Prog, so I did get to spin the wheel, so that was exciting. Today we're talking about the greatest prog rock duo of all time, man. Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy. I guess, Mike Portnoy had become a fan of Spock's Beard while he was in Dream Theater and communicated with Neal, talking about maybe starting up a band. Originally, they were thinking about, the dude from Fate's Warning in it, but he was busy, so they got Roy Nostalgic. Transatlantic was born, and from that came just a plethora of greatness ever since. There have been 24 albums with Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy on them, and I'm going to rank them all, man. I'm ranking all 24 albums that these two cats participated in, and we think about trios all the time, like, Rush and ELP and Laorme and Triumvirate, all those bands. But you never really think about the duos, right? You got Evership, which is Shane Atkinson and Bo West. But what about other duos within bands you don't really think about a whole lot? What about Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks as a duo, right? Or John Anderson and Chris Squire, or Roger Waters and David Gilmour. Let me know in the comments what you think is the greatest prog duo of all time. I'm sticking with my premise, man. Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy, the greatest prog duo of all time. And I'm ranking all 24 albums, starting at number 24. It's a covers album. It's Morse, Portnoy, and George. Randy George, Mike Portnoy, Neal Morse have done 3 of these albums. And at number 24 is the 2020 Cover to Cover 3. It's kind of covering a lot of the same ground here. It's good, but a lot of these artists we've already touched on in covers. Badfinger we already did. King Crimson we already did. Bowie we already did. But there's some good stuff on here. The Squeeze tracks are great. I love the Yes track, and they do a Jethro Tull number here. That's good. But overall, it's just not great. At number 23, it's Cover to Cover 2 from 2012. Morse, Portnoy, and George again, of course. But this time the set list is way better than Cover to Cover 3. You've got Starless by King Crimson, Crazy Horses by the Osmonds. They do Elvis Costello, Styx, Steely Dan. They even do the Box Tops, The Letter. Cool covers album. I like it, but they have one more that I like even better. And guess what, boys and girls? That's at number 22. It's Cover to Cover, the first one from 2006. Pleasant Valley Sunday, Badge by Cream. They do Joe Jackson, David Bowie, Chicago, The Who, Moody Blues, Badfinger. What a great record. What a great selections of songs. And they really do it great. At number 21, man. This is a weird one. Back in 2012, Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy and his friends got together and put out something called A Proggy Christmas by the Prog World Orchestra. Just a great collection of Christmas songs. I love Christmas music. I love Christmas albums. The Jethro Tull Christmas album gets a lot of play every December, and so does this one, man. I just absolutely love it. Taking Edgar Winter's Frankenstein and turning it into a Christmas song, just genius. But that's it for the the non-original stuff. There were those 3 cover albums and the Christmas album, but now it's all original material. 20 albums of absolute greatness. To wit, I'm putting at number 20 the first Flying Colors album from 2012. What a good album this is, man, and it can only get at number 20. That's insane. This band was formed by Bill Evans over at Mascot Records. He wanted to do something with the 2 Morses, right? He really felt Neal Morse and Steve Morse should get together. So with Dave LaRue, Mike Portnoy, and the great vocals of Casey McPherson, Flying Colors was born. I like this album, but it's just not quite as proggy as the other 2. Infinite Fire closes this thing out, and it's outstanding. I really, really like it. At number 19, it's Momentum from the Neal Morse Band. This came out in 2012 also. And I really like how it's bookended. I love the title track that opens this thing, and I absolutely adore the epic that ends it. World Without End is just amazing. I got a little problem with some of the other tracks in between. Thoughts Part 5 is cool. Freak I can do without. Smoke and Mirrors is all right. Weathering Skies all right. But to me, it's the first song and the last song that really propelled this thing. And I figured Neal kind of knew he was running out of rope with the Neal Morse solo stuff, because right after this, he hired Eric Gillette and Bill Hubauer and formed the Neal Morse Band at number 18. Yeah, it's the first Neal Morse Band album that came out in 2015, The Grand Experiment. I like this thing, man. I love the artwork. I really like how it opens with the call with the a cappella section. Is just fantastic. Getting into the title track, which sounds a whole lot like Styx. And then you've got a fantastic epic to end it all, Alive Again. This was the first Neal Morse Band album, but they would get so much better after this. The other three Neal Morse Band albums ranked a little bit higher than 18 for sure. At number 17, I'm going with Flying Colors' third album, Third Degree, dropped in 2019. This one's got a whole lot less Neal Morse on and a whole lot more Casey McPherson, so it does kind of sound like more of a Casey McPherson joint. But there's some great tracks on here. There's a middle run of songs, More, Cadence, and Guardian that I just really, really like. Geronimo, kind of new territory for them, kind of chill and jazzy, almost like Steely Dan like. And then you've got a real cool pop tune called Love Letter, the one time that Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy kind of pop up above the fray and show off. The sad thing about Third Degree is I think the best song on this album didn't even make the album proper, and that's Waiting for the Sun, which was on the bonus disc, but it's a good record. At number 16, I'm going with 2008's Lifeline, probably Neal Morse's most underrated album. I absolutely love this thing. It starts out with the title track, which is just amazing. You got another lengthy piece called Leviathan that they've had in their set list off and on over the years. You get the amazing, amazing epic, So Many Roads on this thing. But it's the shorter tracks, the more faith-based, worship-y kind of songs in between that make this really great for me, because they're usually like the weak point on Neal's albums, but these songs are great. The Way Home, God's Love, Children of the Chosen, and the album ends with Fly High. Not the epic, just a great album. Totally underrated. I absolutely love it. At number 15, it's the first entry by Transatlantic on this list. Yes, it's their fourth album, Kaleidoscope, which came out in 2014. Of the 5 Transatlantic albums, I think most people agree this is the one that really didn't push all the right buttons, but I still love it, man. Into the Blue, the title track, Black as the Sun. You get actual Daniel Gildenlow sighting, where after he'd been a touring member of the band for a while, he actually gets to sing a little bit on this album. Just a great, great record. And it's their worst album, man. At number 14, it's the new latest Neal Morse Prog solo, what is it? Solo Gratia from 2020. I love this album. This was Neal's Lockdown album. He did solo Scriptura way back when, so I guess there's like 4 other solas he could go to. So Sola Gratia is the second one in this series, and it's primarily Neal, Mike, and Randy, but you get a little bit of Bill, a little bit of Eric. It's just an amazing album telling the story of Paul. I just love this thing, man. I think it's completely great. I love everything about it. It's kind of a modern sound for Neal. Maybe looking at maybe some new avenues and some new directions with some of the sequencing and sampling and stuff that's going on here. Really good. At number 13. One a lot of people absolutely love. I like this album a lot, but it's not my favorite by Neal. It's his second Prog solo album, One, from 2004. Telling the story of man's separation from God. And you've got some great epics like The Separated Man and Creation. But I love Author of Confusion, man. Portnoy's drumming on this track is just ridiculous. It's so much fun. Seen him do it in concert. It was just amazing. But my favorite song on this album, once again, didn't make the album proper. It's called King Jesus, which is available on the extended CD, but just amazing. It needs a vinyl release so badly, as all these Neal Morse solo albums, well, not all, but most of them need a vinyl release. At number 12, it's Flying Colours' second album, Second Nature, from 2014. This is the best Flying Colours album. I really, really like it. I love the album artwork by Hugh Syme. Opens up with a great track called Open Up Your Eyes, probably my favorite Flying Colours song. But there's some other really, really good tracks here. Peaceful Harbor, Mask Machine, and the album ends with Cosmic Symphony. They self-produced this one. They had a producer for their first album, but they kind of wanted it to be more looser affair where they got together and just kind of, figured stuff out. And they really did on the second album. Just great. I love it. At number 11, it's the debut album by Transatlantic from 2000. This is the one that started it all, man. Started that great marriage between Neal and Mike, and it's just so great. All the Above opens it, and it ends with the Procol Harum cover of "In Held 'Twas and I," and everything in between is just fantastic. This is the album that got me back into modern prog. This is the album that, to be honest, without Transatlantic, there would be no Prog Corner. Without Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy meeting up and joining forces, there would be no Prog Corner. I probably wouldn't be into prog today. Here we go, man. The top 10 at number 10. It's the last collaboration between Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy. Happened a couple years ago, 2021. And Innocence and Danger by the Neal Morse Band. What a cool record. Where disc 1 was kind of like the shorter tracks, and then disc 2 was just two mighty giant epics, one 20-minute long and the other one 31 minutes long. So if Beyond the Years is the last thing Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy ever do together, what a way to go out, but we know they're going to do stuff together. There have been little breaks before, but this feels a little different, man. We haven't done anything. If we don't do anything this year, it's going to be 3 straight calendar years without a collaboration between Neal Morse and Mike Portnoy. Seems likely Portnoy's probably going to be pretty busy this year with Dream Theater, but we have Innocence and Danger to remember us by. At number 9, it's the first Neal Morse album, Testimony, from 2003. He had quit Spock's Beard, he had quit Transatlantic, but he calls up Mike and he's like, man, I got a bunch of great songs telling my story, my conversion to Christianity, and everything that led up to it. What a great autobiographical tale Testimony is, and it's actually bettered by its sequel, but I absolutely adore this record. Neal was just on a tear at this point. The late 90s, early 2000s, man, that guy was just writing some incredible material. At number 8, it's the last Transatlantic album, The Absolute Universe, from 2021. It was my album of the year for 2021. I stand by it. I love it. It's amazing. I love how there were like 3 different versions of this thing. You had the Neal Morse version that clocked in at like 60 minutes, and the Portnoy version that clocked in at like 90 minutes, and then there was the a super extended 5.0 version at like 100 minutes. I don't care. They're all amazing. I love it. This might be the last go-around for Transatlantic, so if it is, man, enjoy it. It's a great album. I absolutely adore it. At number 7, yeah, we talked about Testimony. How about Testimony 2 from 2011? This thing's a little, more concise, even though there was a bonus disc that had that great epic Seeds of Gold on it. The main disc is just so tight and succinct, and just, I love the storytelling here. I love how rockin' it is. I love how this has little bits of AOR mixed in with the prog. Just so good. Neal brings in the old Spock's Beard crew for one track on Time Changer. Testimony 2, just an amazing album. At number 6, it's The Great Adventure from 2019, the follow-up to 2016's The Similitude of a Dream. And I was a little skeptical. Why would you do another double album after the masterpiece that was The Similitude? You're just asking for trouble, setting yourself up for disappointment. Well, it's actually almost as good. It's just fantastic. It's a little darker, a little heavier. I love The Great Adventure. I think it's amazing. At number 5, here's the top 5 Neal Morse, Mike Portnoy albums, boys and girls. At number 5, I've got Transatlantic's The Whirlwind from 2009. Is it one song? Is it 12 songs? I don't know, but it's mixed so beautifully. It sounds so good. It's the warmest production of any of Neal Morse's records. It flows so beautifully in its 78-minute runtime. I just adore it. Some people don't like the last track. They think Neal's just a bit preachy on it. Neal converted to Christianity, people. Get over it. It happened. At number 4, back in 2005, Neal had a mystery album called Question Mark, and it's about the tabernacle of the Israelis. Just such an amazing record. I love it. It's 12 songs, but it runs straight through as if it were one, kind of like the Whirlwind does. So this is almost like a warm-up to the Whirlwind, but I like it even better, man. These songs are just amazing. Some really good guest appearances on here. Roy Nastalt, Steve Hackett, I think even Jordan Rudess shows up on here. What a great record. I absolutely adore it. It's amazing. At number 3, let's do Transatlantic, Bridge Across Forever, their second album from 2001. And I guess people, didn't like Sympathy as much because it was a lot of Neal Morse, but this time it feels a little more balanced, a lot more Roy Nastalt input, and Pete and, Mike just always laying it down. What a great rhythm section they are. Bridge Across Forever, Duel with the Devil, and what's that last track on there, man? I can't remember it right now. Just so incredible. My favorite. I love it. Bridge Across Forever. Wow, just perfect. Words cannot describe how much I love it. At number 2, I guess it's going to be Sola Scriptura from 2007. Neal's 4th Prog solo album. His heaviest album. This thing sounds like, metal or prog metal at times, and it really fits Mike Portnoy's drumming style to a T. I just love it. If ever there was a record that needed a vinyl release, man, Sola Scriptura is absolutely begging for it. It's just so great. What a perfect album. Just amazing. And at number 1, you know what it is. It's from 2016, The Similitude of a Dream by the Neal Morse Band. An absolutely perfect double album. Tells the story of a wanderer or a traveler who's looking for enlightenment, and, he's leaving the city of destruction, and he's, going around meeting all these people and doing all this stuff, and he finally gets to the city of light at the end. And that's where part 2, The Great Adventure, picks up, and I guess his son does the same thing. But, the first go-around's usually the better, and that's why The Similitude of a Dream is my favorite album that Mike Portnoy and Neal Morse have ever done together. Portnoy probably would agree with me, but there you have it, boys and girls. Very exciting. I love it. I love Neal. I love Mike. Anyway, tomorrow on the what are we doing on the show tomorrow, man? I'm going to just talk about 2013 a little bit, just like a little review. Next week, I think we're probably going to continue with our year in review. We're going to go to 2008. And then I'm going to be looking at albums that turned 50. 1974, what an amazing year. So I'm going to run through the top 25 of 1974. I'll probably end up doing, some more world prog stuff. We got to visit France. We got to visit Canada. Those are going to be the next 2. And then we're looking also at that prog, non-prog, the episode that I did about post-punk. Bands that sound like prog did really, really well, so I'm going to do another in that series here coming up. But you know how it goes. I just go with the flow, and I do whatever the heck I want to do on any given day. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet, and God save him. Save King Chucky. Save King Charles. He needs your saving. That son of a gun could use your saving right now. I'm telling you he could. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.